Hello everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, I will explain you about the variables in Java. So why we are using variables? We are using variables to store the values which we can reuse them for multiple times. There are three different types of variables available in Java. First one is the local variables, static variables, and non-static variables are instance variables. Some people are explaining as there are two different types of variables. One is the local variables. Second one is the global variables. So they are including static and non-static under the global. So number doesn't matter, guys. We have a local, static, and non-static. So let me start with the local variable. So local variable is the variable which we are initializing inside the method, and the scope of the local variable is only within the same method. That means when you close the method, automatically the usage of the local variable also will get closed. That means we cannot use the local variables outside the method or function. Let me give you the example you can understand. See, I created one class called variables. Inside the class, I'm creating one method, public static void method1. I'm creating one method1. Inside the method, I'm declaring two variables, int a equals to 50, int b equals to 60. Two variables I declared. So these two variables we are considering as a local variables. Why we are considering them as a local? Because these two variables I declared inside the method. So understand, guys, now this variable scope is only within the same method. That means you can use these variables only within the method one. So system.out.println a multiplies b. Understand? Now let me create the second method. One class contains any number of methods. Public static void method2. Public static void method2. Suppose if I want to use these two variables in the method 2, that is not possible. See, let me try this. System.out.println a plus b, a multiplies b. It was throwing an error. Why? Because the two variables which we declared inside the method 1, those variables you can use only within the method 1. You can't use these variables into the method 2. This is the concept of local variable. Local variable is the variable which we are initializing inside the method, and the scope of the local variable is only within the same method. That is the reason, guys, most of the variables in projects we are not making as a local, because local scope is only within the same method. So coming to the next one, static variables. What is a static variable? Static variable is the variable which we are declaring inside the class. Local variable we declared inside the method, but static variables are declaring inside the class, and these static variables are loading while class is loading. So what exactly it is? I'll explain you guys. See, let me create one new class in the package. form.qshore is the package. Inside the package, I'm creating one variable. I'm creating one class. See, static var. Static var is the class I created. Inside this static var class, I'm declaring two variables. What are the variables I'm declaring? Static int a equals to 50, static int b equals to 40. These two variables I declared. So these two variables we are considering as a static variables, guys. See, static variables. So static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class, and these variables are loading while class is loading. That is the reason we can access these static variables within the same class. We are in the same class now, within the same class directly. So how to call the static variables in the same class directly? Suppose I would like to multiply these two variables. Do you remember last example? I initialized two variables. If I want to use these two variables into another method, that is not possible. But here, these two variables I would like to access into another method in the same class. How can we? Yes, I can able to access them. So this is how we are accessing static variables in the same class. So static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class, and these variables are loading while class is loading. That is the reason we can access static variables directly in the same class. That's fine. But Kishore, I would like to access these two static variables into another class. So let me create the new class for you. Right click on the package, new class. I'm creating the class name as a static var1. Static var1 main method finish. Now I would like to access the static variables which we declared inside the static var class. These two variables I would like to access into the different class. Yes, that is possible with the help of the class name. So static variables within the same class, we can access them directly. In different class, we can access the static variables with the help of the class name. So what is the class name? In which class we declare the variable? Static var class. So static var dot a multiplies static var dot b. Hope you understand, guys. So within the same class, we access them directly. In different class, we access them with the help of the class name. Now, my requirement is I would like to access these two static variables into the different package. Okay, now we are in the same package. com.qshore is the package. Now com.qshore1 is the another package. In that package, I'm initializing one class. I'm creating one class called static var2. Static var2 main method finish. Now tell me, we are in the same class or different class or different package? Or we are in the different package, right? In this package, I would like to access the two static variables which we declared in the static var class in the com.qshore package. So in other package also, we can access static variables with the help of the class name only. With the help of the class name only, we can access the static variables into different package. But make sure that those variables should be public. First condition, those variables should be public. If you observe it, see, till now I declared two static variables. Those two static variables we accessed in the same class, we accessed in the different class. Okay, but these two things doesn't require these variables as a public. But if you want to access these two static variables into different package, we are in the different package now, we should have it, these variables should be public. How to make them as a public? First public, here also public. What is a public? Don't worry at this time. So next video I'll explain you access specifiers. You can understand what is a public, what is a protected, what is a static, what is a default. All the access specifiers we will discuss in the next video, guys. Just make sure that if you want to access the static variables into different package, make sure that that variable should be public. That is the first condition. Within the same package, if you want to access, no need to be public. But if you want to access into different package only, that should be public. And second thing is what? We can access them with the help of the class name. Class name, static var class name. Okay, so second condition is what? Import statement is required. Why import statement, Kishore? Simple. If you would like to import any class from one package to another package, from one package to another package, if you would like to import any class, import statement is must. So what is the import statement? Where it will generate? Import statement will generate under the package here. And the syntax for import statement is import package name dot class name. Import from which package dot which class we are importing. So if you click on enter button now, see static var. If I click on enter button, automatically one import statement generated here. See meaningful statement, import com.qshore. So we imported static var class from com.qshore package. Remember, import statements are required only when you are importing any class from one package to another package. Understand? Static var dot a. Yes, I made them as a public. That's what you can access them. Next one is static var dot b. This is how we are working with static variables. Coming to the conclusion, static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class. And these variables are, okay, loading while class is loading. These variables are loading while class is loading. That is the reason we can access static variables directly in the same class. We can access static variables into the different class with the help of the class name. We can access the static variables into different package also with the help of the class name, but make sure that that variable should be public and import statements are required. This is about the static variables in Java. So far we discussed about local and static variables. Coming to the third one, non-static variables are instance variables. So what is a non-static variable? Non-static variable is the variable which we are creating or declaring inside the class only. Inside the class only. So let me initialize two non-static variables here. How to initialize non-static variables? Int a equals to 40. Int a equals to 40. Int b equals to 60. But Kishore, I have a question here. Static local means we can identify the difference. We can understand the difference between the local and static. Local is initializing inside the method. Static is initializing inside the class. But how can we differentiate static and non-static since both are in the class only? Static variables we declared inside the class. Non-static variables also we are declaring inside the class. But how can we differentiate them? We can differentiate these two non-static and static with the help of the static keyword. Static variables we are declaring inside the class. Non-static variable also we are declaring inside the class. But how can we differentiate them? With the help of the static keyword. If there is a static keyword, that becomes the static variable. If there is no static keyword, that becomes the non-static variables. Hope you understand. If there is a static keyword, there is a static keyword means that is a static variable. If there is no static keyword means that becomes the non-static variable. But non-static variable looks like a local variables, but no need to worry. There is a lot of difference between these two. How can we differentiate non-static and local? Non-static is declaring inside the class. Local is declaring inside the method. So there is no problem at all. There is no confusion at all. Guys, clear? This is about the non-static variables. Come back. Non-static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class, and these variables are loading with the help of the object. With the help of the object. That means to access non-static variables anywhere, object creation is must. That is the reason we are also calling these non-static variables as instance variables. We are creating the instances. What do you mean by object? Object is the instances of the class. So don't worry at this stage what is a class and what is object. Next videos I'll explain you what is the class and object very clearly, guys. Don't worry. Just understand we are creating an object. How to create an object? Now we are in the same class. I would like to access these two non-static variables. How to access these two non-static variables? We must create an object. How to create an object? Class name, object equal to new non-static var. What is the new non-static var? Many people got confused here, guys. They feel like it's a class. No, it's not a class. Name class equal to new constructor. Why do we have a confusion here? Because class name and constructor name both must be same. That is the reason we had a confusion. Don't worry, I told you already, constructors also we'll discuss in the next videos. Guys, I'll explain clearly about the constructors in the next videos. Now see non-static var. Non-static var, class name, object equal to new constructor. Here object name is what? It's not obj every time. You can keep any name as an object. Even you can keep Qshore as an object name. So any object name you can mention here. Now with the help of the object, we can access the variables. Object dot a multiplies object b. That's all. This is how we are working with the non-static variables. Come back. Non-static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class, and these variables are loading while with the help of the object. That is the reason we can access all the non-static variables in the same class with the help of the object. We can access these non-static variables in the different class also. See, non-static var1, non-static var1. We can access these non-static variables in the different class also with the help of the object. How to create an object? Non-static var object equal to new non-static var. Okay, guys, here while creating object, you should be very careful. Okay, in which class we declare the variables, for that class only we need to create the object. We are in the which class, that doesn't matter. We initialized objects in which class, we declare the variables. For that class only we need to create an object. Understand? So next one is what is the next one? I would like to multiply those two. System dot out a multiplies object dot b. So till now I explained you how to declare non-static variables and how to use them in the same class and how to use them in the different class. But now I would like to access these two non-static variables into different package. Same concept. In different package also, let me create new class in Qshore 1 package. In the different package also, we can access the non-static variables with the help of the object only. See, non-static var2. We can access the non-static variables into different package also with the help of the object only. But make sure that those two conditions are satisfied here. What is that? Make sure that these variables should be public. Don't forget this. These variables should be public and import statements are required. These variables should be public and import statements are required. So what is that? See, let me create an object. How to create an object? Non-static. Object equal to n. Object is the n I created. Object equal to new non-static var. New non-static var. Next one is what? System dot out dot println n dot a multiplies n dot b. This is how we are accessing static and non-static variables in the same class, in different class, in different package. So this is about the variables in Java. Let me give you the quick overview about all the three variables again. See, local variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the method. These variables are, okay, scope is only within the same method. That means when you close the method, automatically the usage of the local variable also will get closed. Next one, static variables. Static variables are the variables which we are creating inside the class, and these variables are loading while class is loading. That is the reason we can access static variables into the same class directly, and we can access static variables into different class with the help of the class name. We can access static variables into different package also with the help of the class name, but make sure that that variable should be public and import statements are required. Coming to the next one, non-static variables. Non-static variables are the variables which we are declaring inside the class, and these variables are loading with the help of the object. That is the reason we can access all non-static variables into the same class or into the different class or into the different package. Everywhere we can access non-static variables with the help of the object. This is about the variables in Java. Let me give you one exercise for your better understanding. So far I explained you one class. So far I explained you one class with static variables, one class with non-static variables. But let me create one new class here. Let me create one class here. What is the class I am creating? Something like Qshore underscore variables. Creating one class called Qshore underscore variables. In this class, I'm going to initialize, I'm going to declare variables. So these variables are what? Both static and non-static. Guys, do you remember? First example, I explained you one class with only static variables. Second example, I explained you with one class with only non-static variables. Now I'm creating one class with two variables. One is what? Public static int a equals to 40. Next one, public int b equals to 50. So in this statement, in this example, if you see, I declared two variables. In these two, one is the static, one is the non-static. Okay. Now tell me guys, I would like to multiply two variables in the same class. Do you remember static variable? How can we access in the same class directly? But non-static, how can we access? With the help of the object. Let me create an object first. How to create an object? Qshore underscore variables. Qshore object equal to new Qshore underscore variables. Next one is what? System dot out dot println. I would like to multiply A and B. A is static. How can we access static? Directly A multiplies. B is what? Non-static. We can access Qshore dot, what is that? B. Qshore.b. This is how we are working with the static and non-static variables. These two variables I would like to access into the different class. How can we access into the different class? Since A is the static, we can access this A variable with the help of the name. B is the non-static, we can access with the help of the object. Understand? This is how we are working with the variables in Java. Thank you all.